Behind the Counter is sponsored by
GoDaddy.com. Sign up for a new account and get your domain name for only $2.49 by using promo code Queens at checkout.
Hello and welcome once again to another episode of Behind the Counter. We're back. I'm your host, Rich Stambolian, and with me as always is the commander of JTF, Jonathan Adler.
I am.
It's only because of the sunglasses.
5 people got it.
Ariel Sharon.
If you're watching and you get that joke, tell me you got that joke in the chat room and we'll send you a prize.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
This is Behind the Counter. That is Jonathan Adler. I'm Rich Stambolian. We're going to talk comic books, movies, Sons of Anarchy. This is an episode from 3 months ago. Happy New Year.
The finale to Breaking Bad.
The finale to Breaking Bad. The finale of MASH.
Lost.
This is next week's episode. Quick, Matthew Fox, Bruce Banner. Great casting, yes or no?
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm going. I'm pumping up.
Oh.
Fantasy casting.
Is that really true?
No, I was reading, I read the last issue of Indestructible Hulk.
The newest one.
The newest one.
That was actually really good.
Yeah, it was with the anti-terrorism bomb.
Two Hanks and a Tony.
2 Hanks and a Tony. And I was like, you know what? Like, I like the dude that they picked for him in the Avengers movie. Mark Ruffalo. But I was like, you know what? Ed Norton was all right. Eric Bana.
Matthew Fox?
You run me a little bit. Matthew Fox is perfect.
Awful.
Why?
Because he sucks.
Why does he suck?
He was the worst thing about Lost. I watched Lost as long as you did. And first of all, you need to leave that cast alone in terms of your dream casting. Leave them alone. They're all
Wasp, Evangeline Lilly.
I was like, you know what? I saw her in the second Hobbit, and she wasn't that bad.
Yeah, what was she in the second Hobbit?
She was an elf. She's the one that falls in love with the dwarf.
Did she replace
She's
Liv Taylor?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know the Hobbits that well, but she is an elf that's teamed up with Legolas. And Legolas is into her, but Legolas is a dick, and she's not into it, and she really likes the very good-looking dwarf.
Legolas wasn't really in The Hobbit.
Yeah, but now he is, bro.
I know.
That is the canon.
And how. I didn't watch The Desolation of Smaug yet, but I think it's awesome that it's Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman as a dragon. And
I didn't even think about the connection.
And The Hobbit and Sherlock, which I'm glad is coming back.
Did you watch it? Right? I watched all the episodes already.
All 3 of them, right? Yeah, fantastic.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
The new ones.
Yeah. I'm a little upset that British TV is too weird for my American sensibilities in the respect that I want more of a season instead of 3 episodes. And then you got to wait another year and a half, bloke. That's what they told me.
Matthew Fox is terrible. That guy is just bulging eyeballs and stretching his neck out. And there's ugly crying.
But Bruce Banner, ugly crying. Bruce Banner equals ugly crying.
I like the Zen guy who made Crack Under Pressure, Mark Ruffalo thing, or I like a type of manic scientist, on the run type of guy. We saw Edward Norton already.
Norton was good.
Norton was good, just in the wrong movie.
Yeah.
But that's Matthew Fox. I don't want to see him in anything.
No.
Remember he did that Alex Cross movie and he got really
jacked
up
weird.
and gross.
Yeah.
But before Lost was over. After Lost was over, he got fat and he got arrested for that DUI.
Yeah.
It was also more ugly crying.
That seems to be the thing, man. When you're famous, just get arrested for a DUI and you're all right.
Yeah. That's the coming of age thing for you. You get the DUI, you get checked into Phoenix house, and everything kind of turns out okay.
That's when you're real famous. You get let go with the DUI. You're okay.
I don't think any of those people from Lost made any money. I think they all had terrible contracts from the get go.
I think they all made a lot of money. I think they all did very well. Renegotiating.
Is that why they don't work anymore? It's just sitting on those piles of lost money.
It might be the Star Wars curse, man. These guys will the guy who played Hurley will always forever be associated. Jorge Garcia will always be Hurley.
Yeah, they can't write him out of that role.
I would throw him in a Marvel movie. I would make him
a comic book guy who gets his store broken into.
I would make him Arnim Zola's face. Captain or MODOK.
I can see him as MODOK.
Right?
Big fat guy in the head.
This is where this episode's going. We're gonna cast
all of our dream movies right now.
We're gonna put them in the Marvel. Put the Lost cast in the Marvel universe.
They gotta work, guys. It's a Disney company.
It absolutely Josh Holloway Moon Knight.
No, thank you. None of those. The only guy who I saw really work afterwards was
Michael.
Michael, yeah. I mean, he'll always get work. He's a legit thespian, good actor.
Yeah,
not very likable on Lost, but you know.
That guy's a good actor. A lot of people got work from that show. Who I feel like, but the people who weren't like part of the main crew.
Well, what's his name? Can't remember his name anymore. John Locke, he still works.
Yeah,
there's like half the cast is on Hawaii 5-0, which I can't believe is still on television.
Well, I mean they're in Hawaii.
Hawaii, they live there.
Like
so
they all live there.
They're easy to work with. What's his name? The little guy, the little shrimp, the bad guy, became a good guy.
Oh yeah. Ben Linus.
Yeah. Ben Linus. There's the two of them that are left on the island, right? They're the new thing,
right?
Like one's the Dark Force, one's Light Force. Anyway, terrible show. He still works now. He's on the Person of Interest thing with Jesus Christ.
Right. Yeah. How is that?
I don't know. I don't watch anything that has a guy in front of a computer.
Really?
I don't watch it. Did you hear the rumor about what they call it? About Shield now? Not the guys.
That Thor showing up?
No, not that. They have Sif showing up.
Okay.
But remember that you saw the first episode at least, right?
Yes.
I did too. So
that's pretty much it.
That guy comes back, the one with the fire powers, and he joins the team, and then like his first mission, he gets blown to pieces, and he's left on a slab. So now the rumor is that he's gonna be Deathlock. So they're gonna have Deathlock on the team.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
But is that enough to make up for such a terrible show?
No, not at all. And he's probably not going to be a cool. You know, like they're probably going with. They're looking at the numbers of how Almost Human is doing, and
really, that's what the factor.
Because he's a robot.
It's not a good show. No one's watching that show.
I think people are watching that show.
You're watching.
I'm not watching that show. I think there's a lot of like being sick for like the last week or so. Like there's a lot of TV that I'm really not aware of, and I just noticed it where I'm like, you know what, like there's so much TV out there that's crazy, and somebody's got to be watching Psych for them to keep making Psych.
But would you watch Psych from what they sell you?
You know what?
Two goofy guys having fun.
It's a great premise. I watched a few episodes of it.
It wasn't bad.
I can't commit myself to it.
It's been out for 25 years now, right?
It looks like a lot of fun. Monk, also one of those shows that like somebody's got to be watching this. Somebody's got to be watching.
Won a ton of awards.
Yep.
But like that, I mean, look at NCIS. NCIS is the biggest show on television.
But I know people are watching that.
Absolutely. My father watches NCIS, but he watches all, like if it's a fireman, a guy in uniform, if it's a Law and Order, if it's a CSI, he's watching it.
Rescue Me?
He loves Rescue Me. He loves Chicago Fire. He loves all the cop shows. But he loves NCIS, and like we see the end of NCIS every week. And it's it's always like two people talking in a dimly lit room in front of a computer.
I didn't know he had it in him.
Yeah,
it's the part of the job I love sometimes.
Chris O'Donnell and the other, what's his name, Mark Harmon,
and the tiny lady,
and
LL. If that's all I want, if I'm turning it on.
Listen, well, what you should be doing,
I want the snap and the lip kiss.
What you should be doing is spending all your time on Destination America and watching 10 Hours of Bigfoot, because that's the good stuff.
That's where it is, and there's too much reality TV. It's just me complaining about the amount of TV that's on right now. You know what? Like growing up, I always, and like this is a weird thing. So I'm going to tie this into something else that we've been into recently. QuizUp.
Oh yeah,
the quiz game.
Ranked number 5 right now in New York.
That's amazing. I'm like number 20 something in comic books.
Yeah.
It's a game, you can download. You just get your phone out.
We don't get money off this. We're just talking about a game we really like.
Yeah, and it's this game QuizUp. And
but if you do want to give us money, we will take the money.
Yes, and you can send it to Andrew's Arian in Bayside. They'll know where to send it.
Care of Saturn. Care of Saturn.
And all you got to do is you download this app and you play people across the world in like certain categories. And there's a ton of categories.
Specific categories.
So there's like a superhero quiz, and they give you 7 questions, and like you kind of get ranked, and like it's really interesting.
You gotta be super fast with it.
But there, like I played some of the TV ones, and I played some of the like name of the celebrity ones, and it's like I always prided myself on a guy who knew pop culture, and
you don't know pop culture.
I don't know anybody from Arrow. I don't know anybody from Gossip Girl. I don't know anybody from any of the shows. Any actor who's younger than 24. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah.
I get Christina Ricci. What happened to her?
But when we were stuck, I think after my birthday, me and Jen were really hungover, and she was awful.
Yeah,
awful shape. I spent the whole day like screwing around with QuizUp, and she's like, "You still playing that game?" And so we like play the game together. We play General Music.
Nice.
And like General Music, I know nothing about.
Yeah,
it's like stuff that is like the top 20 like nowadays. I like General Knowledge is very good, but also what I really like about it is that if you every 10 you get that title.
Right.
So like now I think the highest one I have the highest one at this point. Because after 50, it just keeps on being the same thing.
Right.
I'm the last Kryptonian, but I really enjoy the like a Silver Surfer analogy or something like that in there. Anyway, but I really worked my ass off to get this top 5, and I can't even get close to it because the number one guy is like rank 160 something.
That's the guy who downloaded the game the day of,
and he's also spending the money on the accelerator.
What accelerator?
You can buy a set for like $1, $5, like $7. You get every game you have for an hour, you get like 4 times the points.
Really?
So you can quickly move your way up the ranks.
That's a little ridiculous. That's like you're buying your winnings.
You're buying your place. Yeah,
that's screwed up.
Yeah,
man.
man.
I wish the metal category had more questions.
The comic book thing is kind of it's pretty bare.
Some of them are wrong.
Yeah, some of them are very, very wrong.
Some of them are really wrong. There was I was trying to take a screen cap the other day. I don't know about you, but this guy terrible at anything asked about the Legion. Legionnaires,
now I know
zero.
Now I know a lot, from because I'm forced to know what the answers are now.
Who's the leader of the Legionnaires?
The Cosmic Boy.
Cosmic Boy, because now you know because of the friggin' game.
Rin Rock is his name, whatever his name is, whatever. Brock Lundo.
Like
what planet these people from? Legion is a very unusual, but it seems like everyone playing knows the shit out of Legion. Yep. They don't know who Spider-Man marries.
Right.
Or they don't know who is clean from Krypton, but they know like Brock Londo
right.
is from Sleazelac.
I was trying to kind of like put that together in my head where like you'd like and this is the thing I feel about like the music stuff too, or like the metal stuff is like you gotta know. I always feel like, and it sounds so snooty, like if you're a fan of something, you gotta know your ABCs, and then you branch off into other stuff. Like with the metal category, it's like these guys were in Black. Who was the lead singer of Black Sabbath?
Yeah,
and like Ozzy Osbourne, great. And like you're picking like really guys out of left field. Like what's the matter with you? But like who the third guitarist was for like the Swedish operatic like death metal band, whatever. It's the same thing with the comic book stuff where. Like it'll ask you these really remedial questions of like who, which character's family was murdered in front of his eyes in Central Park.
Spider-Man.
Right. And, Wolverine. It's like, it's Punisher, Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Captain America. And if you don't know, it's the Punisher. And
you shouldn't be in this category.
The next question is, what planet is Saturn Girl from? And immediately, boom, number 1.
Oh, yeah.
It's like it made me question a little bit, and it made me also think that I feel like the Legion stuff is just fodder for like the fan fiction world and like cosplay world that we know nothing about.
I know nothing about. I know bare minimum about it. Like I remember this. I had a high amount of Legion stuff going on in like a few years ago when they had like them involved in JSA and everything.
Well, because they relaunched
Mark Waid stuff.
They relaunched it with Waid, and it was awesome until he left the book.
Yeah, and it fell apart, and there was like 4 Legion books on the plate for a while. But it's always like a book that is like it does worse than Teen Titans, but it has a strong fan following.
Right,
that's dwindling every year.
It's a mystery. It's an interesting mystery. I know one dude from Legion, and that's Brainiac 5, and I know he's from the planet Kalu.
Yeah, like that was the one I'm nailing every single time.
Yeah.
I think I can. When they mentioned Matter Ear Lad, I know that he's on the Legion of Substitute, Legionnaires or whatever.
Legionnaires, Legion of Substitute Heroes.
Yeah, I know Legion that the Vril Drox one. Yeah. I know that's Lobo and everything. Like that stuff is interesting, but like there does seem like there's a very concentrated group of people that are really into Legion, and they just that's all they know.
Yeah,
they must be like in some part of the country. They must be like the biggest thing in the world.
Or
they worship it,
or like some part of the world or whatever, where they're just like, nah, this is what it's about, because it's a continuous soap operatic universe. Well, comics are to begin with anyway, but
very tight knit.
It's very tight knit, and especially like it was so dramatic. I feel like the Legion stuff is very akin to like the Marvel romantic comics back in like Millie the Model.
I always looked at
all that stuff.
I looked at it as like DC Star Trek because it was the same type of uniformed, very nichey type of Star Trek. Not now or anything where we have it's like you have so much access to it. Like
Right.
when Star Trek was still like, quiet for the most part.
Right.
Legion, I feel like the same type of fan base where just like, I know about this and this is all I know.
Okay. I can see that.
Do you shit talk on this thing at all?
What now?
I do. Like because I've had it come at me. Like I went and I'm back and forth with a dude. Like,
Really?
Because I destroyed him, and he was like a dude. Like obviously, you see some people like I read a comic book once. How hard could superhero comics be?
Right. Yeah.
I need to fill out my my other category. So like this, I played this dude like early in the morning, and he was like, he's like, oh yeah, why don't you? Bet you don't even know what air tastes like, you loser.
Nice.
Because he zeroed out completely.
Demolished.
So I started just like going back and forth with this guy for like 15 minutes, and then I realized this kid's like 15 years old.
Probably.
And like his like major skills were like I looked at his profile. I was like, Halo is like 90% of his stuff, and I'm like Yankees baseball.
After 30, you got to remind yourself that not everybody else is over 30.
Yeah, I know.
Because you like I haven't gotten the shit talking, but I do get rematch challenges a bunch.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I know this dude's gonna try to rematch me.
I do because the stuff I do a lot is the superhero stuff, and I do Game of Thrones the books and Game of Thrones the TV show and The Wire. Like those are my 4 big
Cross
ones.
it over.
Yeah. So the Game of Thrones one, I have a feud with the best player in the Virgin Islands.
Really?
So like, and she's this hot chick who like, you have to beat her by points. Like it's strictly like she's getting
speeding points.
She's getting the right answer all the time. And we've had a huge back and forth where I asked her to marry me. And cause like we went on a day, one day we went back and forth. And I was like, she left and I was like, marry me. And then she started rematching me. So we're going to get married.
It's very nice. Congrats.
Thanks. We get married on app.
It's nice to see that like technology brings people together like that. If anybody wants to challenge us out there, it's Rich Stambolian, not very original. and
I'm DOC Modoc.
Doc Modoc over here. It's fun.
You can find me across the board. It's always I'll be Doc Modoc.
But like the thing about the comic book category is that there's a lot of stuff that's just kind of like so meaty. Where like it makes me like thank God I had those Marvel cards when I was a kid. Like first appearance of Sabretooth, Iron Fist 14. Boom.
The store also helped us get a lot of those weirdo knowledge things.
Yeah, like first appearance of Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night, number 32.
But like there's certain people. It's interesting because certain people's brains are wired to be inherently like you were saying, like you need the spine of the work first before you can really branch off and find your own niches.
Right.
I feel like comics for me and you, it's very easy to fill in those blanks. Like, okay, like I know like the weirdo Legion stuff is something I just don't have the touchstones for.
Right.
But I know everything else. Like I know the comic book I don't even read. Because of the stories I've read over the years, I know what the hell happened. Like I never read like 6 years of X-Men, but I know everything that happened in that X-Men stuff. Stuff.
Yeah. You know the who's and the what's. The other stuff that I kind of get like a little shady on is like some of the New Mutant stuff here and there.
I can do that. That's
and a little bit of the B-level Marvel stuff. Like the C, not even the B-level, like the C-level.
Who's like wheelie, like what big wheel, the big wheel guy.
Yeah. It was
I got really pissed off myself because it was a question and MODOK was the answer. And I got it wrong. And I was like, I felt like turning off the app because like I'm ashamed of myself. Call myself Spider-Man number 1. And then I get all the Spider-Man questions.
Who is Stanley?
Who is Stanley?
So that's it. Is there any news this week? What do we got going on?
The best thing I read in terms of news was the Stephen Platt stuff that I sent you.
You know what? I didn't get a chance to look at it. So fill us in.
I'll fill it in. There was a big Rob Liefeld, Stephen Platt Twitter thing going on about unearthed all this old stuff where apparently Stephen Platt is I forgot what the inciting thing was, but Rob Liefeld started talking about old stuff, and someone else chimed in that when Stephen Platt was at the the time the big time of his career,
right?
He was like getting into fights with people where like number 10 is six months behind, or it's like they're way behind on the release of a book.
Okay,
just like Image usually did all the time. And they came to him, like one of the editors came to him, was like this, hey, how you doing on issue number 10? And he's working on number 11.
Okay.
And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm an artist. I don't work in a linear fashion. Like, I need to go follow my heart. And he's like, please finish the other thing.
Yeah.
And, it's Liefeld bringing this stuff up. And first of all, Liefeld has no business making fun of anyone's deadline issues at all whatsoever. But then I found out this dude was getting paid $40,000 an issue.
Stephen Platt.
Oh,
For profit.
He did like 6 books. Like legitimately, like he did next to nothing in his career.
Yeah.
Like what else did Stephen Platt do? Moon Knight got a start on. Then he did like the series of a few issues of Prophet.
Right. And
then he disappeared.
Yeah.
One of the things that he was arguing with, he wanted an entire issue printed on a parchment. And he's like, we can't do that. Like we don't. They did eventually do it with Promethea.
Right.
But like no one's taking a Prophet issue and turning it to freaking parchment.
That's awesome.
So like this was going back and forth.
What is Stephen Platt doing now? I always kind of wondered about that.
I think he did a couple of covers recently.
Okay.
I think Marvel gave him $40,000 for a cover, just like they did.
I'm back at business,
like
baby.
they gave Frank Miller for his wonderful issue of Detective Comics.
Yeah, no thanks. Did they really give him $40,000 for that?
Yeah.
For Detective number 27.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. No way that was interesting. He doesn't do anything in the book. He just did that really terrible variant cover.
Yeah.
I thought it was him drawing the Scott Snyder one.
Okay.
But it turned out to be what's his name? The guy who does the Wake with.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Because it's what it was. I was like, like I looked through the whole book. I'm like, there's no Frank Miller in this book at all. It was good. I think he draws very much like how Miller was doing Ronin.
Yeah,
like that really like Blade Runner-y, like very like Klaus Janson heavy, like cool stuff. But he does it better on his own.
Yeah. I totally forgot that dude's name. He did another book too.
He's done a few things.
I think it was like he did Punk Rock Jesus. I think that's the same guy. Sean Murphy. Yeah. He's awesome.
There's a lot of Sean's in comics.
Yeah. They should make the rule like wrestling where they can only be like one named guy.
Oh, there was some other guys. There's that's true. They do that. Also, they're canceling like 5 different DC books. Notably, Teen Titans is off the table. Nightwing's off the table.
Why? See, that's a very interesting thing because even pre-relaunch, both of those books always build up a head of steam and then just go nowhere.
Well, the unfortunate thing about Teen Titans is that Scott Lobdell has been the masthead for that entire run and really hasn't gotten anyone anywhere. If anything, it just brought it back to the book many years. But Nightwing, I feel, it's not my favorite book, but it's the one book that I tolerate. And it had some really good stuff. Like it was very good during Court of Owls. They had a really good crossover and stuff like that. I think Kyle Higgins is a pretty decent writer. But I feel like he's being swallowed alive by the constraints of DC. But this goes into like the whole theory that they're killing him off in Forever Evil.
Okay.
I think they're probably going to give him a new personality. I think they're going to make him into a grown Robin.
Okay.
Grown Robin.
Yeah.
Catbird.
I guess. Like the Batman, like as long as I get Scott Snyder Batman every month, I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
Which is by far the best DC book on the shelf and one of the best comics on the shelf too, and like people who
Piece of work, man.
It's good, man. People who don't like mainstream comics, like I feel like this is one of those runs where you're like, well, kind of read this and like think about all like the fact that in we'll talk about it more later, but in this past issue about how he kind of addresses the whole reverse punishment thing with Alfred and Gordon.
It was a good analysis.
It was good. We'll get into that because that's, I think, is that your book of the week too?
No.
All right.
Close though.
Yeah?
It's up there.
What's your book of the week?
My book of the week is Walking Dead.
Yeah? Okay, tell me why.
From the general malaise that you're giving off for Walking Dead, I think the TV show has made you a bit bitter towards the book.
I haven't watched any of this. I watched 3 episodes of the season.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but I think it's kind of like made the well a little bit poisoned at this point.
Okay.
But I love this storyline. I thought this was one of the huge issus. Like a lot of stuff goes down. It was pretty major. It was all action. It's still not over.
Yeah.
In terms of my excitement level, like where I loved Batman. So Batman was a great issue, regardless of anything. It's always a great issue. I think that this was like the wow book for me this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then Avengers World.
I really enjoyed Walking Dead from this week. It was on my I don't know if you do this, like before you go to bed, where you're like, all right, I'm gonna save this for tomorrow, and then I'm gonna go to bed right now.
Yeah, I put it a little differently. Sort of. I do. But usually now I'm realizing the stuff that I put for later never gets read. I have a stack of stuff that I have to go through on my hard drive.
Okay, so I'll split my stack of stuff that I want to read to get ready for the show, and I'll do like, I'm gonna read this tonight, and I'm gonna read these in the morning, and I'll stick to it. Like I'll wake up, I'll like eat my breakfast and like do my thing and like read the rest of the comics. So I was like, you know what? Like, I'll save The Walking Dead for tomorrow. It'd be nice, like, have some toast in the morning. We'll read the comic book. And I turned to the first page and I was like, oh, I'm reading this right now. Because the first page shows that dude getting blown up.
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
The
guy who I thought, like, who I was like, is that a chick?
girl.
Is that a chick or a dude?
What's his name? He has like I always want to say his name like Heath.
It's
right?
sad too. I think so.
It's Heath.
Heath. Yeah.
And the other one, and the nurse got bit.
Right, nurse gets bit.
Carl gets horribly burned.
He's blown up.
But what I think is the best part of it, like, because the whole book is basically Negan and his crew lobbing grenades over the wall,
right,
and it just going to hell. So it creates an interesting dynamic. Oh, and also, what's her name? Glenn's girl, Maggie.
Right,
kind of becoming like the new leader of this group, and
Rick also maybe having another breakdown.
Probably having a big breakdown. But what's interesting is that he passes out. And we know from what's being teased is that the virus is moving a lot quicker.
Right.
That people are turning a lot faster. And so the nurse is bit. Heath is missing a leg. Carl's unconscious from whatever wounds he got in a room where no one else knows that she got bit.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a nice locked room disaster that's happening in the next issue.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. I think
and honestly, Jesus continues to impress with the jumping lob back of the grenade was awesome.
That was awesome. Yeah, and the other dude on the the Saviors team.
The Two-Face guy?
Yeah, the Two-Face guy. Who, like, I hope he joins the group. I'm really coming around to him.
I like him a lot.
I really want to see where it goes. It was a good issue. It wasn't my comic of the week, but it was a really, really good issue. I think it made up for like the last few issues that were like kind of like, all right.
I don't have the complaints about this run. I've been very, very happy with this run. I feel like my bareness from the show should bleed over to this book, but
it doesn't.
If nothing else, it helps me appreciate this storyline that much more. This book overall.
I DVR'd them all, so I'm gonna watch them.
I'm telling you, the last 3 episodes are awesome.
I think I have an inkling of how it ends because I saw the poster for next season, which starts in like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, February 9th, I think. I also caught up. I caught the first episode of True Detective.
That was awesome.
Fantastic.
Second one's even better, man. Yeah.
I'll watch that later.
Right, that's like one of my favorite shows. That's going to be one of my favorite shows this year.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. I've said it before. Banshee on Cinemax is the most satisfying show on television.
How so?
It is. Have you never watched anything from this? Do you know anything about it?
Nope.
I
know it's a cop show.
It's about a dude who he gets out of jail after 15 years. He's a jewel thief. He goes to find his girl who's now living under their identity. She's married now and he's in love with her. The day he comes back to his town, it's an Amish country. He gets involved and this sheriff gets killed and he assumes the identity of the sheriff.
Okay.
And the thing about him is he's a killing machine. Everyone on the show is a killing machine.
Okay.
Like his wife is a killing machine. It's all I can't. There's the Russian mob going after them.
Yeah.
They have flashbacks to the time he was in prison. We was fighting this albino rapist. It's so action packed. The characters are awesome. And it's like every episode you're like, it did everything I could ever want on a television show.
Really?
People got banged. There was explosions. This guy's face got ripped off. It is awesome.
It's better than S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's different. It's like what you expect from an action show. Like it's an adult action show. It's like comic booky. It's something that you would the way it plays out and the stuff they cram into every episode. You feel like, oh, this shouldn't be as good as it is.
Okay,
but it's so awesome.
I'll check it out.
Just check out the first episode. I guarantee you'll be sold. And like this, and the action sequences are amazing. This dude in the newest episode did like old boy style hand-to-hand combat through an entire building, which was like right up there with anything else.
How many seasons?
This is the second season just started.
Okay,
it's incredible.
3 episode seasons.
No,
like the BBC.
No, 12 episodes.
Yeah, I'll check that out, man.
You'll fall in love, man.
I still probably got like a good day of recovery time to just kind of like
do it, baby.
Relax and watch stuff.
That's what I picked up on a sick day, and I ended up watching it. I was like, because it was all on Max Go, like on the thing,
right.
So I watched everything, and it was just so awesome.
What else did you say your book of the week was? Avengers World #2.
Well, I want to talk about Avengers World with you. It's not my book of the week.
Let's talk about it.
So first of all, it's I don't remember the gentleman's name that drew us. He drew Spider-Man for a while, and he also drew Secret Warriors with Hickman.
Yeah, Spencer, I think.
Huh?
Was it Spencer?
No, no. The artist.
Okay.
Spencer is the one that writes it with him.
Yeah.
He was like an Italian name. He's like one like Gabaguli or whatever. Gabaguli, yeah.
I forgot his last name. Yeah. Andrew, do you know?
Gabaguli. Got it. I like it. I don't know what at first I didn't really know what the point of the book was. It's not doing anything that the other books are not doing. But I guess it's the book that's going to focus on the B-level characters on the overall gigantic team, right? It's like, he's Smasher and Cannonball. And
right, yeah. Which I'm completely fine with that. I like that.
I like all AIM storylines. I do love the AIM Island thing. Mm-hmm. I like what they did with Smasher and turning him into like an AIM superhero. I liked seeing anything about Captain Terror.
Yes.
What is there not to like?
I just feel like it's really not up to par with... I think...
Did you go into it thinking that Hickman was the only writer on this book?
No, I went into it thinking that this is going to be up there with like the rest of the Avengers stuff. Like this is going to flesh out more of what he's doing. And it's just kind of like a side book, which is fine, but...
You don't want any more side books.
I don't want any more side books. I like, there's a lot of Avengers books out there. There's a lot of Hickman books that I'm buying every month also. And I think
he's doing a lot of work with Image now.
Yeah, this is the weakest one.
I give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I think books that are co-written are usually somewhat weaker.
Okay.
I think there is some type of, disconnect with two writers. Someone doing plot and one doing the actual scripts. But
okay.
I still enjoy it. Like, I don't read Avengers Assemble, and Warren Ellis is on it. I picked up the issue that he came on.
Oh, that's right.
And there was nothing that drew me in. It was another co-writing book.
Okay.
And that book's got canceled. So like they're sending it off like the Warren Ellis stuff. And I never read it. I never was into it. It was a little bit too hokey for me.
It was because that's the movie world,
book,
I think.
Yeah. Well, then it became a weird like Black Widow book.
Yeah.
It was like really focusing on like, the women characters, which is fine. And that became like the Kelly Sue DeConnick, book to work on. But the Hickman stuff I think is just tight. I don't think he's on that many books. He's on mainstream. He's on Avengers and New Avengers.
New Avengers.
What else?
Avengers World. There's a half on Avengers World. God is Dead.
I'm behind on that. He's leaving the book anyway. East of West.
East of West, Manhattan Projects.
Awesome.
I know he's doing like 2 or 3
He picked up another deal with Image. I think another 3-book deal. So he'll be doing like 10 books for the most part. But that doesn't hurt. I think there's a lot of scripts that this guy's probably had in his head or out already for a long period of time.
I want to see this dude on Superman, to be honest with you. I think he would do... If I could pick one writer right now to do an awesome Superman run, it would be him.
I feel like the Superman position is like... It's haunted at this point. It can really just bring down your momentum so much. Like, Jeff Johns had a nice clip of writing for a while.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think he got on Superman, and then it just, like, sucked the life out of him. And then, like, 52 happened.
It's tough, man. It's tough to write the Superman.
And I think it's going to hurt Scott Snyder. I think this Jim Lee experience is going to take a few knocks off his block.
Like what?
The stupid shit he's doing with
No, I'm saying, like, what it did to Azzarello, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. I think
at least from a fan's perspective,
Yeah, because Azzarello, like, he was doing superhero books.
Right.
Before this. And then once he did the Superman book, he, like, I'm going to Vertigo, I'm going to Image, and that's it. And then somehow they finagled him into Wonder Woman, making an incredible book out of it.
That's one of the weird things that we didn't talk about the last time we had the show a couple of weeks ago, because I think it was the last issue of Superman Unchained came out. And
do you feel like they've been repeating the same issue of like them like going to do something, and then the end having like Wraith show like I'm gonna here to kill you, and then the next issue picks up where it's like they're friends again, and then the end of the issue again is like I'm gonna turn into a monster and kill you.
Right, the looming threat of him being like, but by the way,
I'm a bad guy.
I'm still here to eventually I'm gonna have to kill you. Yeah. I don't think Snyder has a lot of
insight into this or saying in this book,
because like the dude's the guy's a tremendous writer from a fan's perspective. It just seems like his whatever awesome stuff he wrote is kind of getting like edited like heavily.
Well, yeah. Well, look at like the way that he's done books before. Like the track record that I know of, like the little amount of American Vampire that I had, I loved. His Detective Comics stuff was so layered, and every issue was so powerful.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with like the Batman stuff. Like every issue of Batman, like I usually get rid of my comics just to save space after I read them.
Yeah.
The Batman stuff is something I always keep to do another reread on because they're so dense and there's a lot of information given to you. Same thing used to happen with the Grant Morrison stuff, which is like it's thick, heavy. I think Snyder's a little bit more. You can go into neutral a bit. If you were a dummy, you can still enjoy. Scott Snyder stuff because it's pretty to look at. But like with this, it's really like it's almost over the the Superman Unchained book. I think it ends at 9. I think they're up to like 6 or 7. I think.
Yeah, it's 6.
And what has really happened in that book in 6 issues? Like, there's a lot of spinning wheels. Like, I don't like this. I don't think there's a great deal of character development. I don't know what its real goal overall is to do for me. Like,
it was a strong first issue.
Yeah. Do you think so? I don't think so.
I think it was pretty strong. Like, for knowing what you're getting in from a fan's perspective, from our fans' perspective, knowing what you're getting into, it was a pretty strong first issue. And then it kind of went into like a repetitive, like spiral of, like you said, like Superman does something, questions something. Lois Lane's on another adventure. I'll punch a microphone. Lois Lane's on like her own adventure, which is fine. And then Superman talking to Wraith, and Wraith saying like, "Oh, you have to learn how to do this, but wait, I'm gonna kill you." Next issue comes out.
Weird.
Let's get out of here. I'm a scientist. I'm from another planet. I'm hanging out with this dude. Lois Lane got into some trouble. Everybody's a robot. What's the deal?
Yeah, and it's the whole.
By the way, this guy's gonna kill me.
Yeah, and then the revolutionary guy with the robot faces and everything.
Yeah. It's not. I expected more. I wanted a lot more from that book.
See, I had the exact opposite. I think I liked the first issue because I had no expectations for it whatsoever.
Okay.
Just because I'm so badly disgusted by the Azzarello Lee stuff. It's just like an embarrassing.
It happened a very long time ago.
Yeah, but that was like embarrassing. Like being in the retail business at that point.
Yeah.
And like having to try and sell those books after the first issue was difficult. The Jim Lee diehards straggled along for a little while, but it became like such a who cares book.
Yeah,
that was the biggest thing. They built statues of that stuff before it even came out.
Yeah, you can do a lot. You can change a lot in front of comic book fans, but I feel like there's certain things that it's just stuff that you won't even think about. That when you change them, it'll kind of disgust your weekly fans. And I remember when that book came out and we were in the store, the biggest response we got was, "Is a friggin' Mayan temple? You kidding me?" Because he his Forge of Solitude got moved from the North Pole into like a Mayan temple.
I didn't mind that actually,
or an Incan temple. I thought it was kind of neat,
mind that.
But that was I remember from like the old school guys, they were like, "Oh, what's this going to be about? Mayan temple? Get out of here!"
10 issues of Mr. Ord, Jim,
right?
The Commissioner Jim,
Impossible Collars,
Commissioner Jim.
Yeah,
Impossible Collars.
It's just like kind of like a weird thing, and DC's really not like nailing it. In my opinion, honestly, like, you talk about your big two being Marvel and DC.
Oh, it's Image.
It's Image, man. Image has replaced DC by far.
I went down the solicitations for April and I looked at what DC books I pick up, and like it even shows from what I read normally. I'm behind on Green Arrow. I like the Green Arrow stuff they were coming up. I'm way behind on it. It's a matter of time. I will go back to it, but like legitimately, the stuff I get excited for is just the Batman books. That's it. And like I'm reading the Forever Evil like main book,
right,
and the 2 Justice Leagues books. I think they're decent. I can't believe that storyline's still going on. I feel like this has been going on for over a year.
It's because the main book is
slow.
Is very slow to come out.
You hear that they're canceling Justice League of America now?
Why?
Because they're not going to be in America anymore. They're going to Canada.
Oh, that's
they're
right.
becoming Justice League United.
Okay.
And the other book, Superman's not on any of the Justice League teams after this. And Lex Luthor is a new team of Justice League.
Cool.
It's him, Batman,
Bizarre.
Captain Cold, and like Shazam, and probably like Stargirl.
Who's writing it?
Johns.
I'm fine with that.
I think from the issue of Forever Evil that focuses on Luthor, it's always good. He knows how to write a good, like, complicated Luthor.
Yeah.
I just don't think the story's that good.
Yeah, it's interesting. And like it's what could DC do at this point to kind of make you not want to pick up, like, because you're like, all right, as a fan, you'll go into a comic store and most fans grow up with, your Marvel and your DC, right? So you go in there and you're like, I don't really want to get this DC stuff. Let's see what's down here. East or West, this looks really cool. This Manhattan Prize book looks really cool. This Hellboy stuff looks awesome.
Well, just the covers alone, Image has them. Image has some striking looking covers.
I'm going to buy this book called Sex Criminals. I'm going to buy the other book called Sex.
That's kind of funny. Sex Criminals is in the QuizUP app.
Yes.
Which is insane.
Yeah, it is. And I love that book, man. It's a great book. I think it's going to get a fraction, some kind of awards.
I think it's going to. No, I think so. Well, Hawkeye, he got Hawkeye awards.
Yeah.
He got Hawkeye stuff. By the way, the Hawkeye storyline right now is insanely good.
Yes.
It's what's his name? Because you know, like her story, like how she's in L.A.
Right.
and she's now trying to be a detective. You know, the dude she talks to in the supermarket.
It's supposed to be Elliot Gould.
It is Elliot
Right,
Gould.
okay.
It's like, I'm glad you picked up. It's from Long Goodbye.
Okay.
Because the beginning of the movie is him buying cat food, so the guy's perpetually buying cat food. Did you read this week's issue?
Yes.
It's about Brian Wilson.
Yeah. It was awesome.
It was all about Brian Wilson trying to release Smile, his personal album. Incredible stuff. But I digress. Back to DC. The only way they can fix that crap is a start over. I think they're slowly writing themselves into a weird corner.
Yeah.
Now that they're really secret origins now they're going to get all these morons to write their own origins for these people.
Right.
It's going to draw them into an even weirder corner. I think they're going to run into the problem with the Robins again. Is going to be a big problem.
Right. Yeah.
Did you hear about the Flash TV show?
No.
So they just started casting for the Flash TV show, and the callbacks are for Iris West and Detective West.
Okay.
Both black people.
Sweet.
So apparently also the Wally West that's now being brought back into our world is going to be a black guy.
That's fine.
Is it necessary though?
Are you mad about that?
No, I just don't. I think no, it's not even that. Like I don't care about the like race change or anything, but I just feel like they're changing stuff just to try something different.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still gonna be written the same way.
Right. Right.
You know, if you're talking about like listen, like I love Mr. Terrific, and they wasted that character.
Oh
they
yeah,
ruined
big time
the greatest black character they've had in that book for a long time. Aside from my favorite second black character, Martian Manhunter. He'll always be a black guy in my eyes.
Really?
Always.
He's from Mars, bro.
Exactly.
All right.
He's a minority. He's a huge minority.
Yeah.
There's no one left.
Superman's in the minority too.
But he's white bread, man. He's been accepted. He's like the Uncle Tom of them. Like Martian Manhunter is a black dude. I always will have in the back of my head as him as like him.
I think you want him to be a cool black guy.
I want him to be a jazz trumpeter. I want.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's fine. I will project his blackness on himself.
Can you submit a story?
I have a great story
to
about
DC where he's a black trumpet player from the 40s.
I have a great story about Martian Manhunter leaving Earth, going to space, and becoming a space cop working for Legion, and he gets teamed up with Jason Blood as his magic using partner, and they solve crimes, and it's called Space Crime.
Okay. You wouldn't call it Space Blood?
Oh, it does our book. That's a Space Crime book.
That's right. All right, go ahead.
I think they need to wipe that crap off. I think they need to start
fresh.
Yes.
Keep Batman. I guess I don't even know what's going on in Green Lantern anymore, to be honest.
Well, like I like that War of the Lantern stuff that happened. It was good, but after that, I was just like another. It's they always have those fall issues where like they're rebuilding Oa, and then they're like how are we gonna get trainees? We need more trainees.
Mogo's back,
and like I don't like that dude, and like Hal Jordan, you're a dick. Guardians, you're a dick. It's the same crap. Like I feel like. In the 80s, there was Green Lantern, there was the Emerald Dawn stuff, and then there was the Green Lantern Quarterly stuff.
Right.
Which would you get like a weirdo Alan Moore book, every once in a while.
Right, yeah.
Which is a cool way of focusing, getting different people to tell the story. I think when you now have a bunch of barely successful Green Lantern books, you have Green Lantern Corps,
Red Lanterns,
Red Lanterns,
New Guardians, coming soon Sinestro Corps, and Orange Lantern. Right. Well, you have the Larfleeze book.
Yeah, 6 books.
Yeah.
For I've said before, DC has the most boring space stuff.
It's true.
And so you're really you're either creating new stuff, which is usually boring. You usually get like a guy who's just a knockoff of like Mongol as a bad guy.
Right, yeah.
Or just like generic blue people.
See, the problem with the DC space stuff is that they only have very few established cosmic characters going back from who knows how long,
Remember when it was cool at one point? The space side of the original 52, Adam Strange, Owlman, and Starfire,
right? Cruising
the space waves, meeting, Adam Strange, what's his name, Captain Comet and stuff like that,
right? Lobo,
and they had, there are elements of it. Vildrox is a good character. There are a lot of cool things, but they always get hung up in like the Kuns and the stupid the one with are they the Kuns, the ones with the red dot in their head? Then there's the pig-looking dudes, they're crappy aliens. Like Marvel at one point they were all boring aliens. Like if you look at Galactic Storm,
right?
Everyone was boring. You're like, who cares about this stuff? Now, how awesome is Imperial Guard?
Right.
It's so incredible. Kree is awesome again. Skrulls are great again. all their like main races are so good, and the texture and the tapestry of the cosmic universe is amazing.
Plus, but the thing with Marvel and the cosmic stuff though is like those seeds were planted in the '60s, and it happened. You know, it was like, well, this guy's from outer space, this guy's from outer space, and they know each other. Well,
yeah.
Whereas the DC stuff, it's like, you know what, like your major space thing was Abin Sur giving Hal Jordan the ring, and you know there's like some other people out there.
Yeah.
And that's it, you know. And then like later on, it was like the Hawkman stuff, and then Anti-Monitor, and then like these other threats that were just kind of like, you know, I think the whole DC, the problem with the DC cosmic stuff is that they went 50s Lost in Space.
Where just anything goes for the most part.
Anything goes. Like, this guy's the guy. He looks weird, and like he's from the dead. He eats planets, or like he does this, and this. It wasn't like an established continuity of like me. I think the problem is like the threat level isn't there.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't believe it.
And I think that a part of the problem with Green Lantern Corps is that because you have so many people on that that team, you're constantly reinventing new aliens that just are repetitive. Like, I think the beginning, like when Green Lantern Corps relaunched with, I think Tony Bedard was doing it for a while, when they had like the focus on the Thangarian, the Ranian, as the teammates, and like one guy lost his arm, and then one of the guys sacrificed him. That was a good stuff.
And then with the Alpha Lanterns, and like that was kind of cool.
But that's a rarity. That can only go on for so long. Like with Marvel's Cosmic Spectrum, you've got like these very good touchstones that you could always go back to. Like with DC, the most successful thing they can do in space is Green Lantern stuff. Right. With Marvel, you've got Silver Surfer Galactus, you have the Elders of the Universe, you have now the Guardians of the Galaxy. They've made like the fact that 15 years ago, Gladiator as a viable, awesome character, Ronan the Accuser as a viable, awesome character, which is all thanks to DNA, our DNA, which is Dan Abnett and
Andy Lanning,
for basically making the place that we know as Guardians now. But it's fun. It was stuff that had you generally interested to it. I feel like there's so much stuff still in the box overall with DC. I think the cosmic stuff is a good representation of how kind of scatterbrained they're looking at the overall company.
Yeah, I'll agree with that completely. It's really up and down. It's very the whole company's kind of scatterbrained too from a fan's perspective, because there's really no impetus to buy most of the books on the shelf for DC.
Good news though. There was good news. Detective Comics being taken over by Manapool and what's his name? The ones that have been doing Flash.
Brian Buccellato?
Yeah. And Manapool's going to be drawing it.
Why not?
Because he did a great job on that book until he had nothing else to do with it.
Right. Until he needed to be kind of like, why don't you do this for a while?
And I don't really think there's any other books that I really read on the company anymore.
Yeah.
I hear Action Comics is good. I have the last few, but
Greg Pak took it over, and he's like
doing better than all the others.
Yeah, I still have a lot of faith in that dude, man, because I was reading like I said, I caught up on Indestructible Hulk, and I love it. It's a great story, but for my money in the past 10 years, nothing beats any of the Planet Hulk stuff, which was so friggin' epic, And that could be like, people always say like Future Imperfect is their favorite Hulk story of all time. Planet Hulk and the subsequent War Hulk, that does it for me.
Yeah. Well, that was I don't think there's ever been a focus like that ever on the Hulk.
Yeah.
Like that was so complete, and it created its own little world, and it was awesome.
I finally caught up with Iron Man too, and I find it very interesting.
I love it.
I like it with
the Mandarin rings,
Arno Stark and the sentient Mandarin rings, and how Arno's in like an iron lung.
Did you read the newest one this week?
No.
Very good.
Yeah.
It's all takes place in Queens, New York, which is cool. But overall, the art's not that great. But they give like. They show it, the rings are the main characters of this book for the most part, and it's really, really well done.
Yeah,
I love Arno Stark. I think it's a great idea.
I think it's on my other stack, my third tier.
He's very good. Love the Kieran Gillen.
Did you read Origins too?
I loved it.
How'd you feel? Tell me about this. I feel like we're gonna disagree about this.
Well, I don't know if we ever talked on air, but I loved the first issue so much.
Okay.
I was completely invested in a story about Wolverine, these wolves, a doofy wounded polar bear, and then the polar bear killing his family and him killing the polar bear, which is like base level. I thought it was fantastic and beautifully to look at. As soon as I pick up, so the issue, I'll give the background what the issue is really about. It's mostly about Mr. Sinister and his people, his marauders, which is like just big cloned Aryan looking dudes, and another group of like Sabretooth and his wife, who is damaged.
Right.
and a group of people to take Wolverine for a circus.
Right.
So it's these two like dynamic forces working against each other. And then
but this is the first interaction between Wolverine and Sabretooth.
Yes.
Right. Which is kind of interesting. I like that.
I love that.
But go ahead.
So the main thing is like I still think we ruined the Wolverine Sabretooth dynamic through the Loba stuff. Like we've taken away the mystique of like the cat people and dog people is not a good way of explaining universe.
I don't think that holds canon anymore though.
I hope not.
Okay.
So I hope with this, like that we're bringing it back to the Yukon and everything like that, and him being a tracker and then possibly even the same age at this point too.
Right.
I think the most intriguing thing about Origin, the first one, the first issue of the very first series, was the fact that they alluded to a long family line of different dudes, like the grandfather.
Right.
They showed he had the scars on his thing, and his, the possibly his father may have had claws and stuff like that. There were all these little like hints along the line that they never touched on. It was a nice little mystery that still existed. So with this, I'm hoping that they're going in that direction.
Right.
And also, this is going to be the first, union between Sinister and Sabretooth.
Right.
Which is a big relationship.
Why
didn't you like it?
Because of I feel like the Sinister thing doesn't need to be thrown in there for some reason.
Oh, he should be. You don't think so? I think every storyline benefits from Sinister somehow having his hand in it.
See, the thing is, I know it's going to be done right because I really like Kieran Gillen. Yeah. And Kieran Gillen did that awesome Sinister storyline with Uncanny.
Yeah.
And I know he handles the character completely fantastically. I don't know. I don't know why the book doesn't do it for me. I expected something a little different, which is fine. Whatever.
What's your ideal sequel to Origin then? What would you want out of this package?
Out of this, what I was presented with so far, I like him being the wild man in the Yukon.
I would just do that.
I would do this as if it was up to me, if I had to write an Origin thing as a fan or myself, my ideal Origin 2 would be mostly silent issues of him, beautifully drawn silent issues. They're gorgeous. The books are gorgeous.
You can't do that.
Why not?
Because that makes fans angry. I would appreciate that also.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best way to do that was have it as a backup in every book, like Marvel Comics presents.
Okay.
For over a span of time. So every 2 weeks you get a new issue or whatever in the background. I love silent issues. I think they're fantastic. And it really gets you get to see the relationship between the artist and the writer a great deal more.
Right.
It gives a great option for the artist to really showcase their stuff. But the problem is that people feel like they're wasting their money if they get that issue.
Okay.
I remember as a kid when I bought the G.I. Joe silent issue, I threw in the garbage. It's a huge mistake because I hated it because I wasted my money on a quiet book about Snake Eyes.
Couldn't appreciate it. Too young to appreciate it.
Too young, but I still think that mentality is still there with a lot of these, especially since the book's so expensive. It's a $4 book.
It is a $4 book.
Possibly $5.
I want to get the whole picture. You know what I mean?
Well, because did you? I'm kind of fascinated by Sabretooth overall. Ever since I was a huge Wolverine fan. The Sabretooth issue where he says he's a father is one of my touchstones.
Yeah.
No one else but me and maybe you and Bobby loved the hell out of that issue and that run of Albert and everything. Anyway, but remember the Texaria Sabretooth miniseries?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was so awesome, and it finally gave this guy some meat to his character.
Right.
Especially how he had I forgot her name, Dove or something like that. The psychic that it was a sidekick.
Right.
That he'd use to calm his pain, and it was he had a connection. I think that they're going the same route with his wife being some type of minor psychic that keeps him calm.
Do you think it's his wife?
Well, they said that it's supposed to be his wife.
Okay.
I think it's probably gonna be a sister or something like that.
All right. Because their face is all messed up.
Yeah.
And Sabretooth may have had something to do with that. It would be cool if they said that he was his half brother or something along the way, or some kind of once removed relative, which I feel like they have to do. They have to make them related somehow. Otherwise,
that's the thing. Yeah.
Kind of ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Why they've had this long history.
Right. And that was one of the other things from the original Origin is I would have been very happy just with Sabretooth as his brother.
Right.
As opposed to Dog Logan. Who's turned. I like the Dog Logan character now.
I like where it's come to. Yeah.
Where he's just kind of this weird rabble rousing hillbilly.
Yeah.
And
time travel.
Yeah. And it makes zero sense.
But yeah, I think one of the greatest disappointments and the greatest drop balls is not directly saying these two guys are related and creating that massive, feud between these guys.
Right.
Like I think you're supposed to walk away from Origin 1 and saying like, okay, Sabretooth is a relative of Dog Logan somehow, like down the line.
Right.
But I like the fact they brought back and made Sabretooth the same age, because I can't wrap my head around the idea of like Wolverine being older than Sabretooth. I always felt like Sabretooth was definitely the older dude.
Right, yeah, I felt the same way too.
They've drawn him younger over the years, but back in the day, in like 80s, he was like a gnarly looking beast man that looked a lot older than Wolverine.
Right, yeah, like those, like when you see like an Alan Davis Sabretooth from like back in the day, he's hideous. Oh, you know, he's a very hideous character.
Really gross claws.
Yeah, I really wish they brought back that original costume.
The original with the fur around the wrist and everything like that.
Yeah, with like the big weird thing and just orange.
I love him. I like him. Did you read that last issue of Wolverine? The Alan Davis thing.
No.
So that was the lead in to like with the new big storyline. He has no healing factor anymore. Yeah. But the cool thing was like it was a big confrontation between Sabretooth and him. He's like, Sabretooth's like, I'm not gonna beat you down or anything like that. I'm just explaining to you the way that our situation works out. He's like, you have to understand, you've been a murderer with me almost your entire life.
Right.
You've been on my side most of the time. You're the sick one. Like, you're denying your true nature. And it was like, it basically broke down Wolverine, saying like, you're really like, you're faking it this whole time. Like, like you run a school now? Like, who the hell are you? You were a guy who was in Wetworks with me all these years, and you have to live with that for the rest of your life.
Why, bub?
Did you read Wolverine the X-Men this week?
No, I'm like 2 behind on that.
Read that. That's a good issue. There's a great Wolverine Cyclops conversation.
Yeah.
They both get drunk together.
I like that. That's one of those books where I was surprised at. I was like, wow, when's this new issue coming out? And I looked at my stack, and I had like a hidden stack of books that I just had somewhere, and I was like, oh man, like I didn't read this, I didn't read this, I didn't read this. So I'm like 3 behind on that, and like 2 behind on Captain America.
Captain America. This issue was pretty good.
Yeah,
yeah. I think it's the storyline's been kind of lackluster, but I'm looking forward to the next one.
We got 5 minutes left, man. Talk about that Batman.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Can we talk about Batman? Yeah. So give the breakdown of the issue.
So this issue is basically like year 1 Batman when he comes back to Gotham.
Well, this is part 2 of the year 0 stuff.
Right. So
this is officially now he's Batman.
Yeah. So officially now he's Batman. He's purple gloves. Purple gloves. He's got a crew cut. He's working with Alfred. It's a whole Riddler thing, and it's an awesome Jim Gordon. Because in the last issue,
that was the best part of the book.
Yeah, in the last issue, you see him having an interaction with Jim Gordon. He's a kid, and in Bruce Wayne's eyes, he sees him getting like a coat, and
as a kickback,
saying like, you know, sometimes they like us and everything. And then in this issue, Jim Gordon saves Batman
from the cops.
Doesn't know he's Bruce Wayne yet.
I think he's kind of guesses though.
Yeah, he's a good detective.
I think it's the unspoken thing between them.
Right. So like he's like, why'd you come back for me? And he's basically like, you know, like
I want to explain myself too.
Yeah, and he goes on this whole monologue about how like the day after that Bruce Wayne gave me a dirty look, I went to take the coat back and say no thank you, and then I stumbled on an illegal puppy pit, like a puppy fighting pit with Jim Corrigan and like a bunch of pieces of crap.
Oh, it's Ron Corrigan.
It was Ron Corrigan.
Yeah, it's another Corrigan.
All right. With a bunch of pieces of crap.
Saying that name is scary.
Yeah. And like him like getting eaten by dogs, basically.
Yeah, they say you're going to fight in the puppy pit.
Yeah.
And him getting torn apart and having to kill all the dogs.
Right. He has to kill all the dogs, and then he keeps the coat out of like as a spite and shame, saying like, I'm the guy who beat the dogs. Yeah. I'm not, you can't break, blah, blah. And then Batman, Bruce Wayne disappears. He goes back to the cave. After hearing that, he talks to Alfred, and Alfred's like, by the way, I don't think you do this because you want to. I think you do this because you're punishing us, because none of us could save this town, and you're actually out there and doing it. And I thought that was some of the best Batman stuff I've ever read.
It was a good breakdown too, because he is such a dick when it comes to him over the microphone.
Right.
That everybody like, Cave, give me the stuff. Cave, do the stuff. So in this issue, like him having that breakdown and saying like, you know, you're basically not punishing yourself, you're punishing everyone around you. It also, you know, goes hand in hand with the way that the Bat family, the death of the Bat, death in the family story worked out. How it's him getting rid of his family. It was very, very unique way of looking at his relationship with his immediate
Alfred. His immediate Alfred. His one guy.
Immediate Alfred.
The 2 guys he talks to are an old cop and
an
old butler.
Old butler. What a life.
He's a lonely guy.
And like the Dr. Death stuff is really gross.
Yes.
He's very disgusting. I love the Riddler stuff.
Yeah.
Like I love where they're going. Plus, we know that the storyline is ending up with like basically Gotham turning into the apocalypse at some point.
Right. Yeah.
Because the whole now we're seeing that Riddler's plan is that he wants to like start Gotham over.
Right.
He wants to bring it back to the primordial.
And it's interesting too because they have not had a confrontation yet. It's all been Riddler on like TV screens and like talking to him kind of like from out of nowhere,
being the smarter guy. See, that's what I think this is all leading up to. Is I think that he's going like. He has a physicality. They've gone into the whole thing of like his training in this and him being the gigantic bell with the Arabs guys with the skull faces.
Right.
But the thing I think that this is going to develop is making him into the psycho planner, smartest guy in the room Batman.
Right.
He's not there yet. He's a thug. He's got the crew cut. He's a dick. He's a dick to everyone around him. I think this is the progression of him becoming the smartest guy in the world.
Yeah.
A real detective.
Which I find fascinating too, because the thing about the Riddler that I always liked was the fact that his one flaw is that I'm going to let you know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to let you figure it out because I think I'm smarter than you.
Yeah.
You know, so like I think that's going to culminate into him, you know, just outsmarting the Riddler and knocking him out with one punch.
Oh yeah. I think the payoff is going to be pretty big. And I think this is probably going to lead back into Riddler knowing who he is.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think they're gonna, or something with that. I think that's something that Snyder does like about the character.
Tied into Hush, baby.
He has to. It's like the kickback for doing Superman Unchained. Like you gotta make that. You gotta make what I did in there.
I'll give you $40,000 an issue.
You gotta make Tommy Elliott into the Owl.
Oh my God, that's gonna happen.
I want to see where this is all going. Like I want to see what happens after doing a over a year long origin story and rewriting the kind of the history of Batman.
Gothopia.
Well, that happens against all the other books, but that looks so stupid.
Yeah.
The white costume does look kind of cool, but
it does look kind of cool. I actually did read it after we talked about it last time, and like I like how he's just drugged out of his mind into thinking it's paradise.
I'm glad that they tell you right off the bat that it's the Scarecrow stuff, and it's not, you don't have to wait. Like, oh, of course it's gonna be Scarecrow.
No, it's right off the bat. It's like I made him crazy. I finally made him nuts.
And then after all this, it's Batman versus Bane. After this stuff,
beautiful,
because Batman is Bane.
Let's set it up with Steve Coogan and the other guy.
I can't wait for that, man.
Yeah, it looks good. All right, looks like we're about done here, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This has been another episode of Behind the Counter. I'm Rich Stambolian.
I'm Gil Faison.